Hey everyone, we're here at Brothers Brewing, which as you can see is still under construction, but it should be open early in September. And I'm here with two of the brothers, actually the two brothers, Asa and Colton. Guys, thanks for having us.
Yeah, no problem.
So tell us about, guys, obviously you guys are still in the process of building the brewery, but you guys are still a brewery. So tell us how it got started and the story behind it.
Basically, we were in high school when we got introduced to craft beer. So we were, under the legal drinking age, and weren't able to get our hands on it very readily. So we started making beer at home. Our parents were kind enough to be, all right with that. And, we were musicians at the time, really thinking about what we were going to do with the rest of our lives because our music careers weren't really panning out. And so it was actually a school project we had on green initiatives that we did on Steam Whistle that introduced us to the idea of, hey, why not, a career in the brewing industry? So we continued brewing and brewed at a local brew pub in St. Catharines. And then when we were graduating, the brewmaster program came up at Niagara College. It was its first year. So Asa looked into taking that, and the idea was that he would take that and I would take business to sort of get both flips of the coin, because being so young, we knew we would have to do it very smart if we were going to make a go of it.
Well, I've always liked beer, but it's I mean, the fact that it's craft beer is probably I'm not going to say it's a fluke, but more than that, it's just I wanted to get involved in sort of an entrepreneurial type project, and at the time the brewmaster program at Niagara College was the only one that was available in Canada. So I just thought, what, this would be kind of cool just to go and learn how to make beer. And so I walked away from my career and went and learned how to make beer. And I just reached the point in my working life that I just decided that I wanted to go and do something else, and I had enough of the day-to-day routine. So this just happened to be the program that kind of lit the little fire, and again through the program is how I met Asa and Colton, and that's has led to where we are now.
So talk to us about coming into a place like this and finding this sort of ridiculously cool building, and what the hopes are and what the plan is for this space.
Well, we found this place because I was working at Sleeman's after I graduated the brewing program. And I mean, we knew that we'd been wanting to do this since high school, a brew pub specifically, because, that's kind of where our personalities fit with the business models that we wanted. And so every place we went, we were looking at different buildings. We were always on the eye out for, potential spots. And when we came to Guelph, it was like, wow, this is an amazing community. Everybody's so accepting of craft beer in general. Like a brew pub would go over amazing here. And then we were sitting across the street having a beer, and we saw this place, and it was like, that's the place. That would be amazing. But there's no way that we're ever going to be able to make that happen. But here we are.
What can people expect when they walk in here? What is going to be in this area?
Well, out here, where we're sitting right now, we plan to have a seating area for patrons. We're going to be building a bar. We'll have a retail store at the front where patrons can buy our beer in bottles and take it home with them. We'll also provide a growler filling capability.
Yep.
We'll have the brew house in the back, as you can see,
Yep.
and we will be brewing beer there, and providing the patrons that come here an opportunity to actually see the tanks, see what's going on or what happens inside here, and actually drink beer that's been made right on the premises.
Right.
So the plan is to make it a real social destination. We don't want to be a sports bar. We don't want to have a place where there's 20 TVs all over the place. We might have one, so if there's special sporting events on television, we'll broadcast them. But it's sort of might reminiscent of maybe a German brew pub where there's long tables and benches where people can socialize when they're here too, and so you're not sitting at tables of 4. So you don't know who you may sit with the next time you come in, that kind of thing.
You guys said you started off as musicians and wanted to see where that went. and found that it wasn't really going to go anywhere, so you decided to do brewing. Do you think having that sort of creative mind, that drive to do something creative, helped you guys in making your beer?
Well, I think that was the whole drive behind doing it. Like, the whole idea for the company was more of a creative outlet, and not just with the beers, with the branding, with the whole image. Like, we just wanted to create something. So I think for us, it's not only, making the recipes, it's about making that whole experience. It's kind of similar to the whole music experience as well. It's just the whole creative outlet, doing creative things, expression, a way to express ourselves through beer.
Yeah. Which is sort of what drew us to the brew pub model too. I mean, it's a way of creating a fuller experience and really entertaining people versus just giving them a product that they can enjoy. We can create more of an experience and showcase more of our creativity in a space. And I don't know, it's definitely stems from creativity. Yeah.
We've talked about this before we even started shooting because it's a really cool story. But you guys brewed a beer, not pumpkin flavored, actually in a pumpkin. So I'm sure the question on a lot of people's minds when they hear that is, what the hell happened?
Is that creativity?
Yeah, it's that creativity.
Expressing ourselves.
No one really just goes, I'm gonna get a pumpkin and start brewing beer. I mean, you guys would have had to do a bit of research for this. So tell us the story behind finding the pumpkin and then, first off, finding one, but then also getting something that big and putting beer into it.
Yeah, well, I mean, throughout the brewing program, I had built a lot of our own brewing equipment, like small-scale homebrew stuff, and then slowly it got bigger and bigger to the system that we had now, which was 2 hex. So then when we decided that we wanted to do something in a pumpkin, it was kind of like, well, it's a vessel. Everything else we've made beer in is a vessel. Let's just do what we did with a keg, but with this giant pumpkin.
After we had the idea, the task was getting the pumpkin, which we actually thought would be a fairly easy process because in my childhood, I remember sitting on massive pumpkins, and Niagara's a big agricultural area. So we went around to the local fall festivals that happened to be happening that week, thinking that we'd approach the person who won the biggest pumpkin contest and offer to buy their pumpkin. And we went to about 3 fairs around the Niagara region, and nobody had giant pumpkins. So I went online and I started Googling to see what was happening to all these big pumpkins. And I found the Giant Vegetable Growers of Ontario is an organization that exists out there. And I sent them a shot-in-the-dark email, and within an hour, somebody had replied to me and said, I have 3 pumpkins that are this size, and this size, and you can have them all. And I was like, all right, great. But they were in Georgetown, so I was like, all right, we got to somehow get these massive pumpkins to our place. But they were nice enough to drive it all the way down, and we unloaded it on the farm. So,
people have tried pumpkin beers. There's a pumpkin flavor beer that many people will do. Not many people, but they're out there. But what if people wanted to try this or haven't tried something like this? What would they expect when they first take a sip?
Well, first off, we wanted to do something that was not only in a giant pumpkin, but we wanted to do something a little bit different than what all the other pumpkin beers seem to be, which is usually just pumpkin spice in your face. And we knew that we'd be able to get a large amount of pumpkin cooked flavor because the entire brew is surrounded by pumpkin. But we also did a Belgian-style double because it's got a lot of dark fruit, burnt sugar kind of flavors. And it ended up combining nicely with the cooked pumpkin flavor to kind of give like a sweet, buttered, tarty kind of pumpkin dessert flavor. Just a lot more, of the pumpkin aspect versus the spices. It was delicious.